Thanks, Jessica. I know we told you guys when we recorded weeks ago, like, ooh, today's my birthday, but because we record in advance, today's actually my
Today's
birthday.
actually your birthday. That may be confusing, but the
Right.
timeline checks out. Don't worry,
Yep.
guys. Um, Aubrey, if you could do anything today for your birthday, what would it be?
Probably go to a movie. I really love just being in a dark theater when it's cold and popcorn. Oh, I think I'm gonna make that happen. I'm going to a movie tonight.
Awesome. Awesome. Um, well, guys, we have an awesome speaking part 3 strategy for you today. These 3 steps, these 3 keys will help you answer any part 3 question. Weird ones, tough ones, easy ones, whatever. This strategy works. So, before we give you the strategy with examples, I want to give you some context. I want to explain how I thought of this in the first place. So, I was making a class for a group of awesome Turkish girls last week. Aubrey, can you tell us a little bit about that? Because you and I both get to teach for this program.
Yes, it's this amazing nonprofit called Be the Voice of Girls that we've been teaching with for a couple of years now. It is the best group of girls. They're young, they're teenagers, but so bright, so intelligent. All of their comments and questions and thoughts, I'm just so impressed. I
Mhm.
think they're leaps and bounds ahead of where I was at their age, especially in a second
100%.
language. Here they're speaking
Yeah.
in English. It's not even their first language. I am so impressed by them.
It's the most amazing program, and we're so lucky to get to teach those 8th grade girls. And so, anyway, the topic of last week's lesson that I had to create was digital art. And I'm like, how am I going to create an hour-long class with like the traditional like role plays and the structure that we normally use? I'm like, that's not going to work for this topic. How am I going to do this? So I started simply. I just was like, digital art definition. And that's where I started. And I made a slide. And then I went from there. And then I thought, okay, now let's go one level deeper. What can I teach them about these things? What are some examples, some general examples? What can they talk about? And then one level deeper, how do I connect with it? How do I find specific vocabulary and stuff to talk about related to this? So that was my process for coming up with a class. And I was nervous, but it went really well. And then I thought, hey, that 3-step process would work for IELTS speaking part 3.
Yes, it's such a good idea because you do get on speaking part 3 questions that when you first hear them, you might be very unfamiliar. You might just sort of really have no idea what to say. And if you have this 3-step process, then you have somewhere to start, something to say for any question, however weird it is.
Totally. So we'll give you an example as it relates to digital art because we've mentioned that. I looked it up. And then we're going to give you 2 more examples with different part 3 questions to demonstrate how to use this strategy. So let's get into this. What if you're asked about digital art? Start with a definition, a very simple definition out loud, right? You're defining it for yourself and the examiner. It serves as an introduction, right? And it gives you time to think. So, Aubrey, what is the definition of digital art?
Yeah, this is art made using computers, software, or other electronic devices. So I love this just to define it out loud because what if you're a little fuzzy on it and you sort
Yeah.
of define it out loud and realize, oh, actually, maybe it's not, just narrate your thoughts, right?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, it's not exactly that. It's more, what we create with computers and software as you're sort of nailing down the definition. That
Totally.
all is showing your fluency that you can narrate your thinking process.
And I think as we talk out loud, it we discover things while we talk, like
Yeah.
as soon as I saw the definition, I was like, okay, that is so simple. Like why was I
Why was I
making this more
confused?
complicated than it had to be? Because I did start just like making slides and boom, boom, boom. And then I was like, this isn't working. It doesn't make sense. And I had to go back to the drawing board, as they say. So start with a simple definition and then just say anything connected to that. What does that definition make you think of? Right? Start coming up with examples. So I think the number one thing that might come to mind, the first thing is photographs with filters. I count that as digital art. That's stuff people do
Absolutely.
every day.
I know. I would probably mention Photoshop because we've started just as a joke with friends. We'll like Photoshop a funny image or our face on something else, right? However, you relate to it
That's
personally,
awesome.
it's going to be the easiest way to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Just remember there's no wrong answer. Anything you think of. Okay, and then this is, I guess, optional, but I think you guys should try to go one level deeper and really connect it to something specific, something personal, right? So, what I did before the class and during the class, and this actually helped me create the lesson structure, was thinking of the new Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man Across the Universe, Across the Spider-Verse. Aubrey, have you seen this?
I haven't. I know I
Oh,
admitted to Jessica, my kids love it. They are actually going today to see it again in the theater because they're obsessed, but I
that's
haven't even seen the
awesome.
first one. I gotta see it, I
You have
know.
to go with them. I would
Yes.
100% see it again, like, right now. As soon as I finished, I would have watched it again immediately.
Oh, that's awesome.
But it was just, like, such a happy coincidence that James and I went to see this, like, right after or no, right before I made this lesson because, like, it put it into context for me. So, that's what I would talk about on Speaking Part 3. I would talk about all the digital art and the different art styles in that movie, as well as the music. That counts as digital art, right? So, anyway, I won't go on about the new Spider-Man movie, just to say it's the most stunning movie I've ever seen, and everyone should watch it.
Nice. I just had a chance. I told you about this, Jessica. I watched there's a movie coming out in November called Wish, and they were doing like a focus group to get feedback, and the art is not finished. It's like 30% animated. So it was so cool to watch it at all the different stages where some of it's just storyboards and drawing and some of it was finished, and it was really neat to see that process. So for me, if I had this part 3 question because I haven't seen the Spider-Verse movie, I need
Yeah.
to. I would talk about that, right? Any way you can make it personal to
Cool.
share any experience you have with that
Yeah.
topic, that's how you go a little deeper.
All right. So let's test out this strategy. All right. Now, guys, we haven't planned this. All right. We are looking at two brand new part 3 questions, and we're going to see in real time if this strategy works. All right. So I'll try it out first. Aubrey, can you ask me
All
the
right.
first question?
Yeah, here we go. Why are some sports fans so passionate?
Hmm. I suppose, let's see, how would I define passionate, first of all? I would define passionate as something that we use a lot of our energy for. And our reactions to the thing, good or bad, are extreme. Either it can make us very, very ecstatic or it can make us super depressed. That's how I think of passionate. So that's a good question. Why do people become passionate about sports? I think they had to be raised on this. Like this was a part of their like family culture. I have a hard time believing that if anybody just discovered some sport and a sports team in like as an adult that they would be passionate. I think they have to be raised in the culture of this team and also probably play the sport. That helps. So I think those two things create passionate sports fans.
Nice. Excellent job. I can really see how this strategy would help. If you get a question about this with the word passionate and anything, where you're sort of, if you're just taking a second to think, what exactly does passionate mean? I'm going to say this out loud. Okay. So passionate means, right? Extreme excitement, fervor, heightened emotions, and then go from there into, who would be passionate about sports? How do we get that way?
I
All right. I'm
didn't
ready.
I
Oh,
didn't
sorry,
g
go
I
ahead.
didn't go the level deeper into the personal example though, but I think my answer was long enough already.
Yeah, right. Because that's the thing, these answers are gonna be about a minute, so you might have a chance if you define it quickly, share something, and to go into that personal example, but of course, it's not like you have to use all 3 steps if you've shared enough details.
All right, awesome. So, last question, Aubrey, how do people in your country feel about protecting historic buildings?
Wow, protecting, that's interesting. I define that as preserving, saving, keeping it from being destroyed. So when it comes to historic buildings that might need to be saved from being destroyed, I'm imagining those that are already in disrepair, that are already crumbling. And in general, I feel like most people are okay with those being raised and replaced with something else. But every now and then we do get someone who is a little more extreme about wanting to preserve that history, and then they'll get really passionate about protecting them.
That was so good, and it occurred to me while you were talking because I heard so much great vocab, and I thought, like, how does this strategy encourage that amazing vocab? Because it encourages you to paraphrase, and because when we're defining and then going a level deeper into that definition, connecting it to the topic, that is literally forcing us to paraphrase, right?
Yeah.
Say an idea in a different way, define. So, um, part of your vocabulary score, guys, on IELTS is showing your ability to paraphrase. Like black and white, that's what it says in the descriptors. And so this strategy accomplishes that. Awesome. I am excited about
I
our
know.
students using this strategy.
And I want to point out, it really felt to me because I do not have a personal example. I would have had to make something up about either caring about a historic building or knowing someone who does. I can't think of an example, right? But I had plenty to say just defining what does that mean to preserve or protect some kind of building, and then the people who potentially might care. Whereas if I weren't using this strategy and didn't have those first two steps, this would definitely be a question where I might kind of just be like, I don't know. I don't really know anything about that.
Yeah,
You
exactly. Yeah,
know?
I think these were really good questions to give as examples because they would stump
Mhm.
a lot of people. All right, guys, find this on YouTube, episode 1295 on IELTS Energy TV. Leave a comment, guys, on the video and try to use today's strategy to answer one of today's questions, or just leave us a review for the new Spider-Man movie.
There you
'Cause
go. I wanna hear it.
I would
Convince me.
love to see
Convince
that.
me to go see it.
Yeah, exactly. Leave a persuasive comment. All right,
Yes.
awesome. Aubrey, thanks for chatting today.
Awesome. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.